Hi, everyone. Welcome today to this special edition of Accelerated Onboarding specifically for B2C customers. I am so excited to have you here. I'm super excited to launch this, kick it off, and have you guys as our first audience. So if you could go ahead and introduce yourselves in the chat, say hi. Shiv and Alana are going to be our moderators today, answering all of your questions, anything that you have as we go through the topics. My name is Tabitha. I am a senior content specialist here at Active Campaign. I've been here for now just about 3 years. I started in a customer-facing role where I would help customers just like yourself start to really dive into their platform, build things, troubleshoot, strategize, anything that you wanted to talk about within your account. And then I moved over to education. So I really love teaching accelerated onboarding. This is one of my main projects in my role. So, launching new versions of it is always super fun. So like I said, say hi in the chat. We're super excited to have you here. As you can see, I have my lovely dog on display, my lake house, which I'll be heading up to here shortly with my family for the weekend. But yeah, love to get to know you guys. Let's go ahead and talk about some things that we are going to talk about today. So just to introduce this to you guys, Accelerated Onboarding is hosted live daily, Monday through Thursday. It's a 90-minute session. What we do is we cover all of these introductory features of the platform. So what you're going to see is that we'll talk about the strategy of something, and then we'll go through the technical viewpoint of it. And by technical viewpoint, we truly mean demoing it in the platform. We want to spend more time in the platform so that you guys have the insight into all the cool things that you can build when you get into your account after Accelerated Onboarding. So don't feel like this is the only session you can join. We recommend that you join as many as you'd like. Here's our agenda for today. We're going to talk a lot about contact management, how you can manage your list tags, custom fields, start to really strategize for that, building your segments, collecting all of your information with forms. We'll talk about building a campaign, and then we'll dive into everybody's favorite topic, automations. So it'll be really important that we really cover all of these topics, dive into them, and then you can go ahead and explore in your own account. So what are we asking of you? This is a super fun environment, very interactive. Like I said, Shiv and Alana are here to answer any of your questions. So don't be afraid to ask the question in the chat. I cannot preach enough that if you have a question, chances are that somebody else in the room has the same question. So please, this is an open forum. We want everybody to really learn as much as they can in this 90-minute session. Just so you know, we are going to send you the recording in an email after this session. So you will get that. You will have that in your hands. And again, come back and hang out with us anytime that you want. Other members of my team present Accelerated Onboarding. So if you want to take an opportunity to maybe learn from somebody else, you can absolutely do that on any of these sessions throughout the weeks. So today is our special B2C edition of Accelerated Onboarding, as you know. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about a B2C business. And throughout our session, we're going to use this business in all of our demos and our examples. We have an account built out specifically around Boone's Bar and Boxing. So the industry here is a fitness, it's a gym. They offer classes, personal training, they do challenges, they have a community, and they're using a ton of features in Active Campaign. So really all of the basics that we're going to talk about today are going to be highlighted through Boone's Bar and Boxing, automations, campaigns, and forms. They're also using pages in the CRM. We're not specifically going to focus on that today, but I just want everybody to start thinking about all of the features that you can use in the platform that are applicable to your business. Also, they integrate with MindBody. That's how people book their classes. That's how they sign up for, whatever class they're going to that day. It's a really good system for them to also allow you to purchase your packages and all the different things that they're looking for. So we have a direct integration with them. So if you're using MindBody, give us a shout out. Or if you're using any other integrations that help you run your B2C business, use this as a way to chat with people, and maybe you can learn about different softwares that other B2C businesses are using. But let's follow the journey of Boone's Bar and Boxing with us today. What we want to do is really kick things off by starting to talk about CXA. CXA, customer experience automation. And what does that mean? So that means right message, right person, right time, right medium. What we're doing is really crafting an opportunity for you to use all of these different things in the platform in ActiveCampaign to deliver a perfect customer experience to somebody. So we're allowing you to, take your messaging, take automations, take all the contact information that you have, maybe the different integrations that you're using. As you can see in the graphic to the right, ActiveCampaign, we want to be your main hub for all of your marketing, all of your automation, but just know we recognize that you might be using other platforms that do something that you need to do, whether it be, Shopify or something like Mindbody or Calendly, scheduling tools, anything like that. You can integrate that with ActiveCampaign, which will allow you to really create these really beautiful messages, these really seamless customer journeys. So just keep customer experience and automation in your mind as we talk through our session today, because a lot of what we're talking about will revolve around this. Now, settings are going to be important. There are so many different folders within the settings tab. Site tracking is going to be one of them. Site tracking is really important because it gives you an opportunity to follow a contact on their journey. You're dropping an ActiveCampaign cookie on this contact, and what you're doing is following what they're doing on your website. So there's a couple different ways in which you can cookie somebody. We're going to talk about that here in a second. But just note, if Tabitha visits your webpage and she submits your form and you're starting that process of learning more about her and learning with her, what you can do is then see all the different pages that she's following so that you can connect with her and send her what we were just talking about, the CXA perfectly crafted message. So how are you cooking your contacts? 2 different ways in ActiveCampaign in which you can cookie your contacts. So submitting a form, an ActiveCampaign form, is one way in which you can cookie a contact. It's actually the easiest way. You can utilize many different forms within your website in order to collect information on your contacts, but also to cookie them. So just note, it has to be an ActiveCampaign form. We'll go through how to build those here in just a few minutes. And then clicking on a link in an ActiveCampaign email. So clicking on a link in an ActiveCampaign campaign. This way, what you're doing is you're always including a call to action in your campaigns. That is super important. What is the email centered around? And then once somebody clicks on that CTA, on that call to action, you're re-triggering the cookie, or you're cooking them for the first time. So keep these 2 things in the back of your mind. But what we're going to do is we're actually going to dive into the tool, and I'm going to show you what site tracking looks like. So what we're going to do is, and let me just zoom in on this so everybody can see it a little bit better. We're going to go to settings in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. As we get to that page, think about, your website, think about the other tools that you're using. What we're going to do is we're going to go to tracking, and you can see we already have our site tracking turned on. So there's 3 steps you need to take on this page, 3 very simple steps. It honestly should only take you less than 5 minutes to set up your site tracking. You have the enable step, so turning it on, listing your URL for your web page. You can see here, we listed our website and we included all web pages. You can choose to include only one page or one specific thing that you're trying to follow, but just note you have to check and uncheck this box in order for that to happen. And then last but certainly not least, you have this tracking code. This tracking code is going to allow you to copy and paste and put it on your footer of your web page. So you would go into the editor of your website on your homepage, drop this tracking code there, click save or publish, and you're good to go. You're ready to start cooking those contacts as they start submitting your form and as they start, clicking on links in your campaigns. So 3 simple steps, guys. You really have an opportunity to set this up in a way that makes the most sense for you around the web pages that revolve around your business. Okay. So there is going to be a settings doc that we are going to share here. So we'll just give that a second, but just note, like I said, there's so many different settings tabs, so many different things that you can utilize within settings. There's, I believe, about 21 tabs. Don't feel like you have to use every single one. Use the ones that make the most sense for you, and then, go from there. Don't feel like you have to exhaust all your options just because it lives there. Now, before we really dive into the logistics of the platform, what I want to spend a minute or two talking about is the methodology that we put in part for all of our customers, and it's process before software. So process before software truly means thinking about all of the moving parts that you have in your business, how they're going to come together, how you're going to organize them, strategize for them to work for you, and then implementing them into the software. This is crucial to the way that you set up ActiveCampaign. The reason for that being, you really want to take an opportunity to think about your list, your contact, your tag strategy, what you're going to build automations around, and then implementing it into the software. The more organized you are from the very beginning, the more successful you will be. So just keep that in mind. We're going to talk about it a lot as we go through our session today. If you haven't considered this before, this is a good thing to start considering now, especially as you're getting started with AC. We have this idea of the customer journey. Every customer is going to go through this journey from start to finish. And as you can see, it is an infinity sign. So what it's doing is it's never ending, right? It's a cyclical journey that your contacts and your customers are always taking with you. So in our first stage, awareness, think about Boone's Bar Unboxing and how it can apply to this customer journey. We're going to use this example as we talk through this. I'm becoming aware that, I really want to join a summer challenge. I'm looking to, get fit before, the summer. And what I want to do is find a gym near me that might be offering a challenge or, stands by what I'm looking to do, what I'm looking to accomplish. So I'm becoming aware of what I'm looking for, aware of the problem that I need to solve. What I'm going to start to do is consider gyms and locations in my area, places that I might want to go, places that offer exactly what aligns with the things that I'm looking for myself. So I find Boone's Bars Unboxing. And what I start to do is consider, is this place the right fit for me? There might be other gyms, other fitness areas that I'm considering as well. And that's when you're starting to kind of weed out what works and what doesn't work for you. So you have an opportunity here to really start to think about, is this business going to be my match? Well, I find that Boone's is offering a 6-week summer challenge, and it starts at the beginning of the month and it runs through the end of the summer. Perfect. Exactly what I'm looking for. So now I've made my decision. I'm coming around the loop into the third stage. But after I finish the challenge, right, from here, through my growth stage, just because I'm only doing a 6-week challenge doesn't mean that, I might not need to purchase something else or become aware of other things. So think about it this way. I'm probably in this growth and advocacy stage as I am, as I'm going through the challenge, right? I am probably, finding this community and starting to really see the successes that I'm having with this challenge. And I'm really falling into a routine and starting to get healthy or whatever it might be for your goals that you're looking for. And I'm starting to really buy into the philosophy of this gym. I'm becoming an advocate for them. And I think, to myself, after the 6 weeks, I don't want to stop this. I want to be a member. I want to tell other people. I want to refer my friends and my family. So I'm becoming now an advocate for Boone's. I'm starting to become aware of the other programs that they're offering. I'm considering which ones might work best for me. And now I'm making a decision to become a member and start to purchase 20 classes per month. So you can see I'm really going through this journey continuously as a customer. And even more so as an advocate, you start to really turn the people that are, new customers into advocates. You'll find that they'll live in this cycle for forever. So really start to think about how these 5 stages apply to your business, and it'll be really easy for you to implement some of the things that we're using within the platform. Now, let's dive in to some platform-based stuff. What we want to do is start talking about contact strategy, list tags, custom fields. What does that mean? How do we organize it? So first, we want to start off with contacts. Now, contacts in ActiveCampaign are defined by a unique email address. That is how they're defined. So it's really important for you to know that if somebody is submitting your form, the only thing that they absolutely have to give you is their email address. So thurley@gmail.com and Tabitha Hurley@gmail.com are going to be recognized as 2 separate contacts if Tabitha were to submit the form twice, or if she were to give you 2 different emails on accident. When you purchased ActiveCampaign, you chose a contact limit that aligned with your business. That contact limit is going to be reflective of active contacts who have given you their email, who have opted into your marketing. So what is an active contact? Exactly that. Active contacts are people who have opted in, who have chosen to receive some kind of marketing from you, whether it be, your community or your classes or your challenges. And these people are interested, they're engaged, they're probably customers, maybe they're just prospects, but they're wanting to know more about your business. Now, we'll touch on unconfirmed here a little bit more when we go through forms, but your unconfirmed contacts are actually people that have submitted your form, but not confirmed their email address through the double opt-in email. Like I said, we'll touch on that in a few minutes here. Your unsubscribed contacts are going to be people who have chosen not to receive emails from you anymore. Maybe they'll come back in the future, but right now they're not interested. And then your bounce contacts can be hard or soft bounces, and those have a lot of different meanings. We actually have a bounce codes help article. Shiver Alana, maybe one of you guys could share that. But you have, hard bounces, which are the email address is no longer in existence. You have soft bounces, the inbox is full. There's a lot of different reasons why something can bounce. If it's a hard bounce on the first time, they automatically move to the unsubscribed folder. We do that on their behalf. If they're soft bounce, we give them 3 tries, 3 attempts at the email before we put them in the unsubscribed. So just note that's kind of how you move from bounce to unsubscribed, even if the contact themselves hasn't unsubscribed. Now, let's talk about lists. Lists are going to be that top tier way of organizing your contacts. What are the fundamental ways in which you're communicating with contacts within ActiveCampaign? Now, for Boons, there's a couple different ways, and we'll look at them when we look at lists here in a minute, of how we are communicating. And our lists are organized around different groups of contacts. Your list can be organized around, let's say, geolocation, message frequency. If you're operating 2 different businesses out of one ActiveCampaign account, always recommend those people live on 2 different lists. In order to be considered an active contact, you need to be subscribed to a list. There's always going to be a master list that holds all of your contacts, but you also need to make sure that people are subscribed to the list that makes the most sense for them. You're really able here to add contacts to multiple lists at once. So I could be in a challenge and part of your community. I could be doing personal training in a part of your community, or any combination of what your lists are. So just know multiple lists at once is fine, but these are really giving you the ability to communicate specifically with contacts from a very broad form of segmentation. So let's go ahead. We'll slide into the platform and we'll take a look at what lists looks like. Lists have their own section in your toolbar right here. And if we click on that, it's going to take us specifically to the 4 lists we have set up for Boons Bars and Boxing. So we have personal trainees, we have members, we have people that are part of the community, and then we have challengers. We also have our master contact list that holds all of our contacts at once. So if I wanted to send like a general email blast to every single contact and let them know, hey, here's all the things that we have going on within our business, I could use that master contact list. These are all just different ways that I'm communicating with people. You could have gone through a challenge and now you're a member. You could be in the community and be a member and have had personal training classes, but they are just different ways in which I'm communicating. The things that I'm talking to people who I'm personally training versus the things that I'm talking to my challengers about is going to be very different. And that's how you know that you want to keep them on different lists. To add a list, you'll simply click the button right here and you can add your list. So you can put your list name in. Your list URL is typically going to be your website, and your list description is going to be if at any point somebody says, why am I on this list? Why am I receiving? Who's Boone? What you can do is use this list description to remind them why they're on the list. Hey, you are receiving these emails because you subscribe to get more information about our community or to get more information about the challenges that we offer. So when you're adding a list, make sure to include all three of these things, your URL specifically, and you'll have a really good opportunity to start to organize your lists. Next is going to be tags. So tags are like the middle tier of how you're organizing your contacts. Tags are really fast and flexible. They can move from a contact. They can be added, removed quicker than you might know. Lists are going to be a little bit more concrete. Tags, like I said, are a lot more flexible. They represent really a lot of different things in regards to your contacts. They're really like badges. You can have status tags, which are utilized through the engagement tagging recipes and automations. We'll touch on that later. But you also have information-based tags. So for us, it's really important that we have action, source, and interest. We also have community. So action, you clicked on a link. Source, you came from Instagram, or maybe you found us organically, or maybe you were referral. Interest, personal training. Interest, classes. Interest, HIIT classes, cardio, whatever it might be. All of these tags are going to help you further segment to utilize that CXA, right message, right time, right person, right medium. Now, let's talk about tags in the platform. If we go to the contact section that you see right here, and you hover slightly over to the right, you can see manage tags. This is the section where you're able to manage all of the tags that you've created. So you can see here, we have 21 tags. Our tags are going to be representative of all the things that are essentially like sub-subjects, mini subjects of our lists. So challenge, what challenge are you in? It's important that if you're on the challengers list, I identify what challenge you're in so I can send you specific things when I'm messaging you about those 6 weeks. So you would be on the challengers list with challenge summer body blast tag. Our community offers a lot of different sections as well. Lifestyle, outdoor activities, recipes, workouts, all these different things that really allow you to build the community. We have different goals. So when we're, talking to you and interviewing you for any of these things, we want to know what your goals are. We want to help you achieve them. So if I don't know, it's hard for me to help you work towards that. And like I said, source. Source is really important because we can identify where you came from, how you found out about us. If you referred somebody, I should probably give you like some kind of discount. So you have a lot of different opportunities for organizing your tags, but just note, it is so important for you to keep your tags organized from the very beginning so that you have a clear strategy for how people are moving about in your platform and how people are, receiving and removing tags. So just keep that in mind. You can always add a tag right here. You can simply just type it in. Now, let's go back to our deck, and we're going to talk about custom fields. So we have our lists, which are very broad, our tags, which start to get more specific, and then our custom fields. And our custom fields are truly like the DNA makeup of your contact. It is information that is specific to the contact. So your contact custom fields are going to be representative of all the things that are important to know for you for your business. Number of sessions that the customer bought. What desired services do they want? Are they engaged? When was the last time they came into the gym? What was their membership date? What was the time that they actually, said that they started the challenge? Whatever that might be. Contact custom fields are really important because they give you an opportunity to track things that are specific to the contact. So just know that. Now, if we go back into the tool and we go back into lists, we're going to talk about managing your custom fields. And there's a lot of things that we want to unpack here. So when we come into contacts, you can see that you can manage your fields by accounts, by contacts, and by deals. So these are all different types of custom fields that you can utilize. In our contact custom fields, we want to go ahead and take an opportunity to make sure that we're adding custom fields that are specific to our business. So what we want to do, if we click on add a field, oops, sorry, my mouse is a little goofy. If we click on add a field, we can add fields that are very specific to the things that we need to know about our contacts. So what membership are you interested in? Now, the question is, what kind of custom field do we want this to be? Here we have text input. Text input is just going to be one single line. Text area is going to give you a little bit more of a paragraph. Your date-based custom field, my personal favorite, is going to revolve around birthdays, anniversaries, membership date, challenge start date, anything like that. Your drop down is going to only allow you to select one answer. Your checkbox is what you would want to pick if you wanted them to essentially select more than one thing. So we're going to use checkbox because maybe at this point in time, they're not necessarily sure of what they want. They might want personal training. They might want classes. So we're going to say challenges. We're going to say personal training. We're going to say membership. And then we're going to say community. And maybe we'll add one more that says other. Now we're going to add this custom field. Once we go ahead and click add, you can see that our custom field lives here, and we have this thing called a personalization tag. So if we edit for this custom field, you can see that the personalization tag lives right here. So what is a personalization tag, you ask? Personalization tags are what we use to really craft those very specific CXA type of messages. So when you say that you're interested in personal training, I can use this personalization tag to populate what your answers of your custom fields are, and it's specific from contact to contact. When we talk about a contact profile, I'll show you exactly what that looks like. But just note, for any field that you create, personalization tags are what lives. And that's what allows you to really utilize a one-to-many method, but make it feel more personal. Let's kind of regroup and talk about the things that we just spent some time on. So lists, like I said, are going to be your fundamental differences of communication. Tags are going to be your badges, and they're a lot more fast and flexible. So lists are concrete, tags are flexible. You want to keep the mindset of less lists, more tags. The more lists you have, the more specific you're going to start getting. And again, you want to be very broad here because your tags and your custom fields are what allows you to get specific. Like I said, your custom fields are going to be the DNA makeup of your contact. So I know that you have this information on me because I chose to give it to you. I don't necessarily know that I have tags, but we want to make sure that we keep them professional. And the same thing goes for lists. I will see the list name. So name your list accordingly. As the contact, when I opt in or opt out, I'll be able to see what you have named your list because that's what I'm subscribed to. Now, how do you import contacts into the platform, you ask? Well, you should save your contact list as a .csv file. So if you're in Excel, if you're in Sheets, if you're in Pages, go ahead and save your list as a .csv file. And that way you'll be able to import your contacts. You can also do that with our migrations team. You can also do that through any kind of mass upload that you're looking, or you can do it manually from contact to contact. So let's go ahead into the platform and we're going to talk about contacts specifically. If we come back to our contacts tab, you'll see that we have 33 contacts. So all of these individuals have opted in to receive messaging from us. So what we want to do is toggle specifically to a contact so that we can see exactly what's going on with Tabitha. If you guys just give me 1 second, I'm just going to refresh my browser because I want everything that I've populated in this page to show up. So just hold for 1 minute and I am going to just refresh my page. Okay, here we go. So I want you guys to be able to see all the custom fields that I created and really be able to see what a contact profile starts to look like as you populate this information from your contacts. So you can see these are all of the custom fields that I've created specifically for all of my contacts, but here's Tabitha's information. This is really like the inner workings of a contact profile. So you can see what membership plan are you interested in? This is our drop down. What's your current weight range? What's your current height? Do you have a class package? What's your membership date? What's your favorite type of workout class? Thanks, Chev. What are you most excited about in the community? So recipes, lifestyles, meetups. I want to go to the park and know that I have some friends that work out at Boone's too, and maybe we do a challenge on our own. So you really have an opportunity to build these custom fields as they make sense to your business. Also, tags. I can go ahead and add tags for Tabitha right here. So since she selected recipes, lifestyles, and meetups, I can go ahead and add a couple of those things. I also know that Tabitha was a referral from her friend Shiv. So I'm going to add that she was a referral, and then I'll note that on Shiv's contact profile as well. You can see that Tabitha's subscribed to quite a few lists. She's in a couple different automations. And what it will tell you when you hover over the automation is that she's 7% completed of the automation, 12% completed of the other automation. And on the right-hand side, you can see all of her activities. She was subscribed to the list. She entered the automation. There's a lot of different opportunities for really starting to build in-depth information right here on the contact profile. And a lot of this stuff, just keep in mind, is happening automatically. So it's really important that you kind of like take that into consideration. We're collecting this information probably through forms, and then we're acting on it in automations. We're building those tags. We're building, everything in the contact profile through the tools that we're utilizing within the platform. So you can see here, I've actually customized my contact dashboard to reflect membership date and favorite type of workout class, because that's what's important for me to see. I can also filter by any of the tags that I have, any of the lists that I created, and then contact status. So just know I have 33 contacts, but only 31 of them are active. So these are the 31 people that I can actually communicate with. Let's go ahead. We're going to toggle back to the presentation, and we're going to talk about segmentation, which is honestly like the bread and the butter of really creating those CXA type experiences. This is where it all starts. So what are segments? Segments are ways that you can group your contacts, and you're grouping them by list, tag, custom field, and a lot of different information that we allow you to collect on the contact. But what does this do? Right message, right person, right time, right medium. It allows you to send that very targeted messaging. So here is a very specific example of how you can create a segment, how you can reach your perfect audience. I want to specifically reach out to people who are on the members list, who are interested in a specific class. I want to send them an email and let them know, hey, we just added this new time for this class. It's really important because it was in popular demand. And it's important because you love this class. So I want to let you know. So we're going to go to our lists, and we're going to pull from our members lists. And what we're going to do is take everybody who's part of the members list. You can see how it gets more specific here, who have one of these 3 goals and are interested in that class. So I can start to create a segment from the list, from the tag, and then from that specific custom field, and message that group of people. That way, I'm not messaging people that are only interested in cardio about boxing. I'm making sure that you're getting a message that matters the most for you. So if we go into the platform, your best place for starting to really craft that segmentation is going to be under search contacts in advanced search. You have the ability here to really start building these dynamic fields that will update as people match the criteria you're looking for. So let's build one. We'll say contact is, let's say they're in this list. They're in the list, in our master contact list, and they match a custom field. What's your favorite type of workout class? Hit. So we're building a segment right here. And I want to actually build it just one more and say they have the tag active. So we have 3 segments right here. If we search this, it's going to give us the amount of people that have met this segment, met these 3 conditions. So Emily and Leah, you can see here that if I want, I can save this search, or I can save it as a segment. Now, just note your segments get saved in the list in which you've created it. So if I ever wanted to view this segment and where it was saved, I would go to the list section of the platform. But really start getting comfortable here. Don't feel intimidated by these folders. Just very much so like the like the settings, you're not necessarily going to use every one. You're going to use the ones that make the most sense for you. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to dive into forms. Let's dive into forms here. What are you using forms for exactly? My favorite way to talk about forms is as if they're like a first date. Forms are not only a really good way for you to create a lasting impression on your new contact, but also for your contact to create an impression on you. You want to know that they're interested in your business just as much as they want you to be interested in them as a contact and all the things that they want to know. So it really is a two-way street here. You're really making like first impressions in a way that allows you guys to start communicating with each other and start building that relationship. So what can you use forms for? Well, for our B2C example, we're using forms for fitness quizzes. Once you decide that you want to be a part of the challenge, I have a lot of questions that I want to ask you, right? Like I want to know, what's your current weight? What's your goal weight? What things don't you like to do? What are you struggling with? How is your eating habits? Things like that. So I've created forms that are fitness quizzes, enrollments, downloadable recipes. You can submit a form to get a recipe, consultations for personal training. There's a lot of different things you can use forms for. So start to take into consideration what you want to use your form for, and we can go from there. Best practices with forms. Keep your forms short and sweet. You do not want people to feel like they are filling out like an extensive job application. You really want to capture the information that's important in that moment, and then you can start to build on that as you guys get to know each other. Meet them where they're at in the customer journey. Not every form is going to be you getting introductory information like we just talked about for common uses of forms. You want to configure your double opt-in, which is your unconfirmed, confirmed contacts, and use AC forms as much as possible. This is the best way for you to cookie your contacts right from the beginning of their journey. So go ahead and start to utilize those forms. Let's dive into them in the tool. Forms are going to live here under Site. So if you can't find them, just know that they're in the little globe icon always, and they have their own section right here. And you can see that we have a form that we've created. So we have 54 entries to our form, which is super exciting. And our form action is to subscribe them to a list. If we were going to create a form from scratch, we could choose from one of these 4 forms. Your inline form is going to be the resident of your web page. It's going to live there at all times. People can come and edit it, update it, fill it out whenever they want. Your floating bar, your floating box, and your modal are going to be your pop-ups. They're only on the plus plan and higher. So no, if you don't see them right now, that's why. But you're really only allowed to collect name and email on these. So inline is truly the most important. The last is your form actions. Typically subscribes to a list is going to be your most common one. We're going to click on this form that we've already built out, and we're going to use this as our example today. So you can see here's Boone. He is ready to, do some squats, do some weights, whatever kind of workout he's taking part in today. But start your fitness journey with Boone here today. And if we scroll down, we can see, and just note, you can resize this picture if you want. Obviously, it's quite large. I don't necessarily probably want it to be that big. And again, if this is like living on the homepage of your website, you probably already have some kind of picture up. So just think about, the logistics of where it's going to live, and that'll help you decide how you want to customize it. First name and last name are important fields to add. If you go to your standard fields, you'll see that full name is an option too. But here's where you want to start taking personalization tags into consideration. Because if I send you an email that says, hey, Alana Hurley, or hey, Shiv Chibber, that's not starting off super personally, right? I want to say, hey, Shiv, thanks so much for letting us know that you were interested in our boxing classes. Here's some information on them. Here's the times that they're offered. Come in for your first free class, whatever it might be. Email is always going to be required. Anything that you see an asterisk by has a checkbox field of required, and that's because I chose to make it required. To me, it's important to get this information, so I would rather you submit it than not. Our date-based custom field, our checkboxes, another drop-down, and then asking you about the community. So lots of fun information that you have here that we've built into the form. If you haven't already added your custom fields in the Manage Fields section of the platform, you can always create your custom field right here in your form section too. You can style your form to match your branding, and then your options are going to live right here. So one thing that I think is really important to mention here is you can always say, thank you for signing up. This is what happens when somebody submits your form. So basically, right now, when somebody expresses interest in your boxing classes and they submit your form, do you really want to just take them to this blank, thanks for signing up? Or do you want to take them to a URL? We're going to take them to boonsbarandboxing.com/classes because I want them to jump into class right away, come in, see what it's all about, get to know us, find out if they like us, sign up for a challenge or sign up for personal training. So I want to take them somewhere that makes it easier for them to convert. So as soon as they click this submit button, this is where they're going to go. Very important. Last but certainly not least is this is where your double opt-in lives. It's automatically turned on. You can see that it's affiliated with our address. If you were to edit it, which you can do, it's going to look like this. This is a pretty general confirmation email, but just note this is exactly where people can see your list name. So again, it's really important to name it accordingly. Just note that you can turn off the double opt-in, but it's not recommended. We really think that, as a best practice to show your contact that you respect their email address, you want to actually keep it on and allow you to establish those lines of communication. Once you're done building your form, you can go ahead and press integrate. And we recommend you always use this simple embed code. So utilizing this simple embed code will give you an opportunity to post the inline form on your page and then go ahead. And if you make any changes or updates to the form, they'll reflect automatically. Your full embed code is going to be a little bit different. It's much longer. If you made any changes to your form, you'd have to re-embed it. Your link is going to be really important as well because your link gives you an opportunity to post your form anywhere that you want. So your Facebook page, your Instagram link in bio, your LinkedIn page, any community pages on Facebook that you want to get people to sign up, you can use this link. Your WordPress and your Facebook are just going to be plugins. So if you're interested in learning more about those, let Shiv and Alana know, and they can give you those links in the chat. But that is forms. So we've walked through now contacts and forms. So you're starting to collect your contacts through your forms. You're building all that information. You're building the custom fields that you set up, and you're really starting to get to know your contacts in your business. So what we want to do next is talk about campaigns. Now, when we start talking about campaigns, it's important to know how really many different things have changed with campaigns in, the way that they're built and the way that they're structured. Think about how many distractions you have when you're sitting on your phone or you're sitting at your computer on your phone and, you're getting sponsored ads and you're getting email notifications and you're getting Facebook notifications and you're getting texts and you're getting this. All of these different things are coming at you, right? Think about how many times you actually click on something before you have built a successful connection with your business of interest or whatever it might be. It really has doubled in the last decade, those connection points. So start to think about the ones that you're making need to be very valid and very relevant and very important. They have to be super intentional in order to be successful. Also, as we just mentioned, there's so many different channels. You have so many things in front of you and so many distractions. You really want to utilize these personalization tags and these campaigns and these automations as a way to, make the person feel like you're speaking specifically to them. A sponsored ad isn't very personal, right? Something that comes up on a Facebook page, not super personal. But if you're, trying to build that one-to-one communication, you're establishing the personality in that relationship. Last, certainly not least, email remains key. People will tell you email is dead, start to use socials, start to use texting. That is not true. The old way of doing email, spammy, unpersonalized, just blasted emails, that is dead. But what is not is actually email done right. Email that is personalized, directed specifically to the things that person has shared with you. And when it's done right, it's still the highest return on investment over any digital channel. So keep that in mind as you're building out your campaigns, and it'll take you really far. Now let's talk about some best practices. We've already covered how important it is to send highly segmented targeted emails. Right message, right person, right time, right medium. We cannot preach that enough. And that's really what you want to start to do. I also think it's really important because not every business is the same. So we really want to think about your template style. The way that somebody communicates in a real estate email is going to be very different from the way somebody communicates in a fitness email. The style of the templates, the way that things look, the way that, they operate, all the functionality within that campaign is going to be different from business to business. So think about the brand that you're building with your business and the way that you want it to look and come off to your contacts, and your template style is going to be really important. Personalization tags, I can't preach enough how important those are. Get that custom field information any way you can. Personalization tags allow you to send highly segmented targeted emails that are specific to a person. Catchy pre-header text and subject line. Shiv always talks about this one really well. It's really important to utilize a pre-header text because it's honestly the cliff notes of your email. If I'm really on the fence about opening an email enough, but there's a catchy pre-header text that says, hey, click here for 15% off or read our email to jump in this competition, I'm probably going to go from skimming past that to answering it or to clicking on it. Sorry. So your subject line and your pre-header text are really important. I'll show you exactly where to build that. Next. Always, always, always have a call to action. This is super, super important. And the reason for that being is what is the purpose of your email? You cannot build an email without that intention. And your intention should be driving a contact to do something or a customer to do something. This is probably arguably the most important step out of these 6. And you really want to think about what are the reasons you need to have a CTA. You want to drive your contact to your website. You want to drive them to make a purchase. You want to drive them to re-trigger their cookie. There's a lot of different things that are happening here when you have a call to action. Last, but certainly not least, track the performance of your email. You want to make sure your link tracking's on. You want to make sure your open tracking is on. And the reason for that being is it's super important for you to understand how your emails are performing. If they're not performing well, let's improve upon them. If they're improving super well, let's make sure to write more emails like that. So taking a lot of these things into consideration will allow you to build, beautiful chef's kiss campaigns that your open rates are super high, your engagement's super high, and you are like killing the email game. So what we want to do is talk about what that looks like in the platform. So let's toggle over there and we're going to go to the campaign section. Now, we have a couple drafts here, things that we've built that we haven't decided to send. But what we want to do today is actually create a campaign from scratch. So we're going to click here and we're going to name our campaign Kickoff to Summer Challenge 2021. And you'll see here that we have 6 different types of campaigns. Today, we're going to focus on standard, but there are quite a few options. If you come across automated, autoresponder, or date-based, my personal recommendation here is to just go into automations. Autoresponder is going to be when somebody subscribes to a list. You'll typically send somebody through a welcome series, so you can do that in automations. Date-based, we have an amazing start trigger. That's a date-based start trigger, which is my favorite. Shiv knows I love date-based type things and how you can act on them. Move to automations for that. And if you click on automated right here, it's simply going to take you to automations. So when somebody says, what's the difference between campaigns and automations? Here's the fundamental difference. Ask yourself this before you dive into building something. Is this going to be a one-time send? Is the only thing I need to do here is send in one singular email? And if the answer is yes, come into the campaign builder. If the question is, what kind of path am I looking to put this contact down? Are there multiple emails that I want to send and things that I'm looking to segment on and target and do that? Go into automations. If more than one thing is happening or more than one thing is slated to happen, move right into automations. So we're going to click our standard campaign. We're going to press next. We're going to select our master contact list. If you were to select any, you can select all of them. You can select a few of them. But we're going to go ahead and select our master contact list because this is a blast to everybody. And then we'll press next. And it's going to take us to our design page. And our design page is going to help us really start to set up the fundamentals. So we'll start from scratch. We're going to use a standard campaign. It's going to come from Boone's Squad. It's going to come from Boone. And then the emails are actually going to go to help@bbb.com, boonsbarandboxing.com. So maybe I want this to come from, and see, you can change this, boone@bbb.com. And here we're going to create our subject. So what I want to say is looking to kick off summer, right? Comma. And what I'm going to do here is select a personalization tag for my subject line. I'm going to draw them in by mentioning them by name. And I'm going to press continue. And now what I'm able to do is really start to take an opportunity to build this from scratch. So this is not, very beautiful, very branded to like the vibe that our business gives off. So go ahead, come in here, type some things out, make yourself some paragraphs. You can drag in paragraphs wherever you want. You can bring in, a line break if we wanted to do this. Maybe here we want to show a picture of our the 5 new bikes that we got because we're introducing spin classes to our gym. That would be a really good thing to do. Hey, if you like spin, this challenge is perfect for you. Images, buttons. Button is going to be a great way to insert that call to action, which is extremely important. Sign up. Up now. What do I want to do here? I want to include the URL for them to be able to sign up. So www.boonsbarandboxing.com/challenge. And that way you're not only cooking your contact, but you're getting them interested in signing up for the challenge. And now because they've clicked this link that they visited your challenge page, and you can act on that and start sending them through to emails that are, hey, look at this challenge. Look at this person's success in their 6-week challenge. And you're starting to really kind of like reel in the people to join your challenge. If you click on this gear here, this is where your pre-header text would be. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, sign up now for 10% off. So this is the Cliff Notes. Looking to kick off summer? Sign up now for 10% off. Once we're done building our campaign, we're going to go ahead and go to next. And this is going to be really just our summary page. So I need to do a couple things here. I need to verify my email, which is fine. You can do this once and then you'll be set up. But I have a problem here, and I'm not passing the spam check because I used 2 punctuations in my subject line, which is great. They're letting you know that that's something that you need to fix in order for your email deliverability to reach its peak awesomeness. So I'm just going to come here. I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to press close. So then once I'm ready, I can come in here and I can get ready to review my emails. So this is going to 27 contacts. Here's my address. My link and open tracking is on. I can schedule it to go out at a certain time. I can also send myself a test. Here is what I think is most important. You will not turn in your college thesis. You will not submit something to your boss. And you will not really leave the house without looking in the mirror. So why would you send your campaign without taking an opportunity to spell check it, to see where your links are, to see where your pictures lie and how all of your text boxes fall? You really want to make sure that you're checking your work before you send it so that you're delivering the best experience to your customers. And then once you're ready, once you've done everything here, you've dotted the I's and crossed the T's, you can press send now or save and exit. Come back and review your draft whenever you want. And you can see your draft will live right here until you're ready to send it. So campaigns in a nutshell. The only other thing that I want to show on this page that I think is relevant, especially for our new users, is I have this turned off. If you go to your campaigns page, you might see this. There's Shiv, our beloved Shiv, and you have these videos and you have these guides and these links. Go ahead. Check this stuff out. This is great information for getting started. But where are we going to move into here? We are going to move into talking about automations. Automations is like everybody's favorite topic. It's the most exciting. So why not save the best for last? What is our automation philosophy, you ask? How do you send a perfectly customized automation? How do you put somebody down a path that's perfectly customized for them? I guess is what I'm trying to ask. And think about yourself as a solopreneur. You know, at one point in time, Boone was running this gym all on his own. He was doing all the personal training, leading the classes, leading the challenges. He's wearing the marketing hat, the billing hat. He's wearing the support hat. So there's a lot going on. That's a solopreneur, and they're really, you know, doing the most. Now, in order to alleviate some of that manual work, you can utilize automation and you can utilize personalization tags and the information that you've collected to really blend automation with human touch and create not only a perfect experience for your contact, but a really good experience for yourself too. So automations are truly like a win-win. Now, there are 3 things that you need to remember as you start to really think about what you're going to do with automations. And as we talked about at the beginning, process before software is extremely important. And this is exactly where that falls into place. What you want to do is automate intentionally. So start to think about those processes that you want to put your contacts through, the journeys that you want them to follow, and intentionally create automations around that. You have the ability in ActiveCampaign to create as many automations as you'd like. So automating intentionally is going to allow you to define the process, define the problem that you're looking to solve, and then build around that. As you start to build around these things, what you're going to want to do is think modularly. Thinking modular is really the idea of taking an automation, understanding what the goal you're looking for the contact to achieve in that automation is going to be, and then building an automation singularly around that, ending the automation once it's been achieved. Instead of building this giant spider web of an automation where you might have context get lost or you get lost yourself, thinking modularly will allow you to create an experience that allows you to troubleshoot, look into your automations, and find out exactly where your contacts are at in that process. Last, make the whiteboard real. I cannot stress enough how many different ways people build automations before they actually get into the platform and start to build them out. I've seen customers who have, giant walls in their office or giant whiteboards that are filled with color coordinated Post-it notes that dictate what their automation is going to have in store for once they build it out in the platform. Drawing it out on a chalkboard, on a whiteboard, whatever tools you're using, you are ready to make the whiteboard real because you've really intentionally thought out what your automations are and what the goals are around them. Now, 101 of automations, labeling. I cannot stress enough today how important organization is for ActiveCampaign, and labeling is at the top of that. Labels in your automations are essentially like folders. It's a way of keeping them super organized and understanding all the different categories of automations that you're creating. Automation stats, are going to give you an opportunity to see how many people are in your automation, how many campaigns are in your automation, what's the open rate there, and goals. We're not going to talk about goals today, but it really just gives you a quick glance at what's going on in your automation. And last, but certainly not least, if Alana or Shiv could share this for me, the marketplace link. If you are concerned about where to start, you're super overwhelmed with automations, there is specific B2C options for you to utilize recipes. Recipes are going to be pre-built automations by our amazing marketplace manager, Cody, and they are set up in a way that will allow you to kind of follow a guide around as you start to get comfortable with automations. Let's go ahead and actually take a look at what all this stuff looks like. So if we go back into the platform and we go under automations, you will see here that we have 9 automations, some of which are active and some of which are not. Now, here's the title of our automation. Again, very specific to Boone's Barn Boxing. And then here are these fun little color coordinated things underneath our labels. So you can see we have form submission, tagging, text, engagement, challenge, community, personal training, all these different file folders of how we're organizing our automations. And right now, as Boone's business is just getting started, he only has 9 automations, and that's okay. But Boone also has a side business where he runs an e-commerce business for dog gear. And in his e-commerce business, Boone's Bandanas, he actually has 64 automations. So labeling is really important for him, especially as you start to build that number of automations and keeping yourself organized and on track. The other thing is you can filter by status. So you might have 64 automations, but maybe only 12 of them are active. And those are the 12 that you need to worry about. You can see here in our weekly workout map automation that there's 20 contacts currently going through it. We can view the 3 campaigns in that automation and the open rate, and then if there's any goals in that automation. Now, most importantly, if you want to create an automation, you can either start from scratch, which is you then making your whiteboard real, or you can start to utilize those recipes that I was talking about. And like I said, there's over 500 recipes for you to start to play around with and get comfortable with. But to make it easier, let's filter by industry. Find your business type here. Go ahead, click on it, and you'll see that there's a series of automations that are built out specifically to your type of business. Come in, start to play with these, get familiar in the marketplace. They will be your best friend as you're really getting comfortable. Now, as we get into really building an automation, what makes that up? What makes up an automation? Two things: start triggers and actions. Start triggers are going to be the action that your contact took in order to enter the automation. What is the step that they did? Did they get a tag? Did they submit a form? Did they subscribe to list? Whatever it might be, you're able to start to really take that into consideration. Now, actions are going to be the steps and the pathways that the contact is following in that automation journey. So what are those steps that your contact is taking? Are they getting emails? Are they getting texts? Are they getting subscribed to a list or a tag that is added? There's so many different actions. We're going to take a look at them here in just a second. Let's go ahead and talk about that right now. So you'll see we have all these different automations, but the automation that we want to talk about here is going to be the community welcome automation. As we click on this, it's going to load and you're going to see that you have your start trigger right here in the path that the contact takes, all of their different actions. Here, the start trigger is going to be that the contact submits the form, that the one that we just built, Boone's Bar Unboxing. We only want them to enter into the automation once. And we're going to add a condition that they must meet in order to enter into this automation. And the condition is specific to them being interested in the community. What membership plan are you interested in? And pulling that from our segmentation, custom contact fields is community. So we're really starting to like gatekeep who can enter into this automation based on the things that they're selecting in the forms, which is what? Creating a very CXA experience from the moment they enter into this automation. What's going to happen is they're going to meet that criteria, enter into the automation, and automatically receive an email. They're going to start to go through this automation, wait for a couple days, get the next email. Wait for 4 days, get the next email. What we're trying to do, the goal of this automation is to get them to join our Facebook group. If they join our Facebook group, we're going to utilize an if-else statement that splits them down two different paths in the automation. If they do, we're going to have them enter into the interest-targeted follow-up automation. If they don't, we're going to subscribe them to the community list. And we're going to take an opportunity to just start to market different portions, different parts of the community to them so we can find out what they might be interested in. So again, this is a very modular automation. The goal is to welcome them to the community. We're super excited to see you. Here's all the different things that we offer: lifestyle, recipes, outdoor places to work out, workouts for running on the beach, workouts for running, in the forest, whatever it might be that gives you more information. If at any point in time you want to add an additional step, you can click on these plus signs and that's where you'll see all of your automation actions. So you'll see sending options, which is sending a campaign. You'll see sending a notification email, which is actually giving you an opportunity to notify somebody internally of something that's happened in an automation. So maybe what happens is when I get a new client request for personal training, I want to notify my personal trainers, Shiv and Alana, to reach out to these individuals directly and see, what are they interested in? Get them set up for their consult. This is going to be that internal notification system through automations. I always like to encourage everybody to think about your condition and workflow folder as your internal actions. This conditions folder is actually building the pathways of your automations. It's more so like the puzzle pieces than it is an actual contact-facing action. So start to consider that. This is going to be the folder that you can really start to create that journey for them. Contacts is most frequently used for adding and removing tags, but you'll see here you have a lot of different opportunity in this folder as well. Adding notes, updating custom fields, subscribing and unsubscribing from lists. Very important note to add here. Your CRM folder is shown here because we are on the Plus plan and higher. The magic in the Active Campaign CRM, and I cannot stress enough, is what you do with it in automations. We actually have a separate training for the CRM, but just note, if you're using it in any capacity, you absolutely want to be using it in automations. We can see the Salesforce folder here because I have the Salesforce integration set up. But if you're looking to see what other integrations we have, you can go ahead and toggle to our CX apps folder. See if there's any integrations that we've set up that align with the things that you're doing. And then you can utilize these automation steps as a way to connect or act as a bridge between your two platforms. So really start to dive in here and get familiar with your action folders. It might seem overwhelming now as you're getting started, but that's really where recipes come into play, because you have a true opportunity to really take what industry you're working out of and build recipes upon that. But that, my friends, is automations, very much like the introductory level of that. So start to play around and get as comfortable as possible. Now, that is really everything that we're going to cover today. I do want to go over some next steps, really important things that you can do to get set up and get set up successfully. Start to think about your contact management strategy if you haven't already added your contacts into the platform. You can watch, our Getting Started course, or you can come to Accelerated Onboarding again, or you can watch our 3-part series of Accelerated Onboarding. We have a lot of different things that we can offer. That 3-part series of Accelerated Onboarding actually includes the CRM course. So if you are utilizing that, you can start to watch that. Also, go ahead and schedule a one-on-one session. One-on-one sessions are exactly what I was talking about at the beginning. 30-minute strategy sessions that are free. You can utilize them once or twice a month. Those are really good options for you if you want to get more specific into your account. Look through our automation recipes in the marketplace that we talked about earlier. And just note, guys, you will receive this recording. You can watch it as many times as you want, but if you're looking to come live, get some more questions answered as you've started to dig deeper into the platform, we welcome you to Accelerated Onboarding anytime that you're available and anytime that you want. So I will go ahead and hang on here. There are a couple other things I just want to talk about. There are so many features for you to explore in the platform. Today, we've really just scratched the surface. So just note, we have conversations, lead scoring, predictive content, custom reporting, all of these additional tools. Please start to explore those features. Please join our community. Shiv runs our community. It's a really great place for all of our customers to, connect with one another, learn, live, talk, whatever it might be, build relationships. So I please encourage you to join that. I will hang on here for a few minutes for some questions. So if there's anything that anybody wants to ask, I'll definitely stay on to answer those questions live. But otherwise, I thank you so, so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your questions, your time, your attention, and I hope you got a ton out of this session. And thank you so much for coming. He just wanted to make his presence known, that's for sure. Alana, Shiv, thanks so much for answering all these questions in the moderation. You guys were awesome, super helpful today. Truly happy that everybody got a lot out of this. And really, honestly, guys, I wish you a wonderful weekend. Whether you be celebrating or not, whatever it might be. Oh, looks like we have a question. And Shiv, I believe you were talking to Carol. Is it based on the coding built by my web designer? A link brings them into the cart on the website they buy there. I use Square. So there should be, and I can pull up an article for you. Here's the link to our deep data integration with Square, Carol. This will help you get it set up so that you're connecting ActiveCampaign and your Square account. Hopefully that helps. Okay, well, if there's no other questions, again, I thank you so much for your time today. Can you explain the integration with Calendly and ActiveCampaign? I have questions in Calendly. Absolutely. Let me go ahead. I'll toggle back into the platform. So the integration with Calendly is actually set up. If you want, you can go to apps, and I can agree to this. Sure. So in your apps, you'll have a popular app right here. This is your Calendly integration. So we do have a native, what we call native integration set up with Calendly. So you can basically connect your Calendly account to ActiveCampaign. What I would also recommend, though, as we're developing this Calendly integration, you'll find that it doesn't necessarily bring over the appointments that are being scheduled. I would highly recommend using Zapier. That way you have an opportunity to bring over a little bit more information into ActiveCampaign as people are scheduling things for you in Calendly. You can easily connect Zapier with Calendly with Zapier and ActiveCampaign, and Zapier will act as the middleman for bridging Calendly and ActiveCampaign together and translating that information between the two. I can pull up a link for you that will kind of walk you through that. Give me just 1 second. Calendly and ActiveCampaign. So here's a help article on how to connect your Calendly account. Perfect. Thanks, Alana. And this is the one for our direct integration. So that will definitely help you connect the two, and then you'll see what kind of information you want to bring over and choose which integration will work best for you. Hopefully that helps, Regina. Sure, of course. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone so much for your time today. I wish you a well weekend, and I always hope to cross paths again with you later in your learning journey on ActiveCampaign. You should probably catch me on a few other webinars along with Shiv and Alana, but appreciate all of your attention and questions today. And thank you and have a great weekend.